Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Hey, hello there, and welcome. Welcome. I'm Lynn Cullen in my usual state of discombobulation. It is Tuesday, March 25th, and it's a nice sunny day. And my sister Susan's joining us. Hi, Suze.
Hi, are we whispering?
I don't know. Are we?
I don't know. It's such a unusual way to hear you. It's very nice. I'll try and reduce my foghorn similarly.
Okay. How's my hog farm doing? Okay, wait a minute. All right. Well, somebody was talking so loudly the other day where I was, and I thought, geez, doesn't that person know how to modulate their voice? And then I thought, I got a feeling you're not somebody who should be protesting.
Well, we all have that tendency in our family.
Loud.
I'm sure I project every bit as loudly as you do. I can tell by the startled looks on people's faces, and I'm just relieved that I don't make babies cry.
Oh, well, give it time. You
well,
might.
No, so far they find me funny. I've been practicing on
that's
other people's grandchildren.
Yeah. Okay. Are you telling people that you're going to be a grandmother?
No, I'm not saying anything like that.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm saying I'm practicing.
Yeah, usually little kids think my faces and my tone, they're a little startled by it because it isn't like most adults talk to them, but then they most of them do like it, although some have a definite look of concern on their faces. Like, what is this?
Well, the ones that tend to be my favorites are the ones that get a delighted smile whenever they hear my voice.
Well, of course. Those are always obviously superior children.
The rest of them are children of no account.
Mm-hmm. This is true. Well, geez, I see right here that Girl Scouts have broken their national cookie sales record this year. And I just want to say something about that. They don't sell cookies like they sold cookies back in the day.
No, they don't go door to door and you have to sit there and fill out those forms.
No. And you know what? It's not them. It's their mothers that are selling. Often. Can you imagine back in the day, our mothers doing it?
Well, our mothers certainly would not have, but back in the day of my children, there were plenty of mothers. We used to have gift wrap sales, and those parents would take that stuff to their offices and arm wrestle their, fellow employees, and you bet.
Well, I think the whole idea, though, is I know it's a big fundraising thing for them, but I thought the thing was to let the child experience, in fact, having to make a sale, even talk to a stranger, and then deal with the logging of the item and all. It was a learning experience, too, and now, in this day, parents just take over. How are kids ever supposed to learn anything anymore?
Well, I mean, the kids that I saw doing this were sitting, at a table in front of the grocery store with their stock in front of them, and they, in fact, were making change.
They were? Yeah. Well, that's not what I
saw.
And
there were parents chaperoning because they were in a public place and near a parking lot.
It was exactly the opposite at the grocery store here that I encountered these kids and their moms, and everything happened with the mother. She finally got the kid. She said, "Why don't you put that in a bag for this nice lady?" And I was thinking, why don't you back off and let the kid handle this whole thing? Anyway, okay, that's just a little bit of a, And I have one other snit, and then I'll stop, cease, desist. I may have brought this up before, But what the hell is going on with the size of apples?
That it's now like to be a meal for four.
Yes.
I search for an appropriately sized apple.
You cannot find a regular, ordinary. I suppose you could at an organic, huh?
At Aldi.
Or at Aldi's? You said they've got regular sizes? Okay. Well, I guess all the shishi kind of stores think that bigger is always better and that consumers are just loving these, watermelon-sized apples. What is the point? You want an apple. You want,
No, it's got me not. We don't eat apples anymore.
No, because if you cut it in half, it turns brown. It sits there. Nobody eats it. Whatever. I don't know, but you waste a lot with those big ones.
Yeah, you do.
It's not a snack anymore. It's a meal. What is going on?
Well, because
bigger's better.
For some reason, and people still don't understand this, the advertisers in the food industry, Big Agra, I don't know who, has dictated to us that our portion size is supposed to be 3 times that which it actually is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I've said this before, it starts with the size of your plates. If you put that huge overblown apple on what they call a regular-sized dinner plate today, it would look the same as if you put the regular-sized apple of 30 years ago on the dinner-sized plate of 30 years ago, which is to say it's probably to scale.
So while we haven't been paying attention, our plates have gotten larger. The
silverware has gotten larger. The flatware has gotten larger.
True.
Everything has been quietly sized up.
It's true.
It makes you consume more. It fools your eye into thinking that you're eating the same, and suddenly you're gaining 20 pounds.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
So when you go back for seconds, you've actually gone back for fourths.
If you think we're not kidding,
I'm not.
No. Yeah, all you have to
truth.
do is look at a plate from 50 years ago and a dinner
My
plate.
wedding china.
Okay.
My wedding china is the same size as the luncheon size plate of my everyday set. So I just use my wedding china now. It's the right size.
Yeah. Right. No, it is so true. And in terms of if you do want to, sort of lose weight, don't use those big plates. Use a salad fork and a lunch-size plate.
And fill it up. That will be the right amount of food.
That's right. That is so true. And those damn apples, jeez! With their phony, shiny outsides. There, I'm done. Oh, I have one more thing. Susan, I was in court yesterday. I found myself getting a little nervous before I was called in to the judge. And I thought, can you imagine how you feel if you've
actually done something?
Yeah. If you were like going into a court and you were charged with something. And I can't imagine. Because this was, of course, parking court.
Right.
And I had a really good record going in parking court. I was batting 1,000. And I'm afraid to say that.
No.
Yeah.
But it's their fault.
It is their fault. Anyway, got a different judge. This one didn't recognize me, or else he didn't like me. And this one had shoe polish black hair. He was hard to look at. And he didn't smile when I smiled at him. And I thought, uh-oh. And so when I told him my sad story about how the newfangled meter would not take my credit card because it was clearly frozen, as was I. And then I tried another credit card, and it wouldn't take that either. And then I tried a third credit card, and it wouldn't take that either. And then I went around in my purse for every bit of change I had so that I could stick it in. But because I was downtown, There's no way I was carrying enough change to give me an hour of parking. I don't know what a quarter get you. 7 minutes? Yeah. A quarter get you 7.5 minutes, I believe. Or maybe even less, not sure. So I put as much money as I could and then ran up to do the show and then came down, and sure enough, there's a $30 ticket. And I thought, I tried. It was I was in. And so I went there and I told him, I said, look, I am willing to pay what I was attempting to pay, which was $5. But I'll be darned if I'm paying the other $25. And he said, I'll be the judge of that.
Well, he showed you.
Well, here's the thing. You know what he said to me? I'll tell you what I do, he says. When I'm downtown and I leave my car, I always take a handful of quarters. I said, a handful of quarters wasn't going to help. A wheelbarrow full of quarters. And I don't want to be, struggling with all those quarters. And then he said, did you not think of the poor frozen person who had to stop and write that ticket?
Oh my God.
Oh my God! I said, no, I didn't. That's their job. They were getting paid. I wasn't getting paid to stand out there freezing to death because of shoddy equipment from the city. I could tell I was going down, but I was pissed. Anyway, I got it shaved. He said, tell you what, he said, I'll cut it in half. You pay $15. But I see on the little thing he gave me that I've been charged as being guilty.
Of course.
I'm guilty, but it was $15, not $30. So that's a little bit of a win. And then when
That's pretty good, Dean. That's good.
Well, when he said he cut it in half, he said, I'll cut it in half. I said, yeah, after he'd said, I'll be the judge of that, I said, yeah, well, who do you think you are, King Solomon?
He did not.
Yes, I did. And he didn't laugh.
Well, of course not.
Well,
Oh my God.
It may only be traffic court, but he has delusions of respectfulness. Now, you behave. You're
he
in court.
really was. He was so...
Well, Lynn,
What?
is that how you would have told your son to act?
No.
Okay.
But the one time my son was in court, he had a good judge. He had an adorable judge. Oh, God. All right. Okay, here you go. So what's happening? What's with I understand, the families of the Malaysian.
I know. The plane is still missing, and they've decided that everybody must be dead, and it's such a surprise.
Well, they refuse to believe it. What's wrong with this? Is mass delusion? They're marching on the Malaysian embassy. They're, what do you think is going on there with this mass delusion?
I have no idea. But denial is a incredible thing. How anybody didn't know within the first 24 hours.
Yeah, they're gone. They're gone.
They're gone.
But so why would you would think they would appreciate I thought the Malaysian, government yesterday thought they were finally going to give these people something that would help them. I mean, here is a fact. No, they're not coming back. They're gone. I mean, it's a hard fact, but there it is. So at least there's no more of this uncertainty. And they freak and refuse to accept it. I find that odd. Oh, well. And that horrific story in Washington.
That half a mountain just disappears?
They never should have been building on that. It wasn't a mountain. It wasn't made of rock. That was silt and very sort of loosely compacted stuff and they were building roads on there and a development and a lot of houses. And it really, apparently some geological surveys prior to all that building said, not a stable hillside.
There's no footing. Well, then it's criminal.
Well, criminal by whom? The state? Because the state would have had to okay all the, permits.
There was some authority that gave, permission and said that this was appropriate. There has to be.
It's so sad. I was reading today of a woman who was not in her house, but her husband was with their 3 children. And they're all gone.
Right.
There's a lot of kids under that. Oh, can't imagine what that death toll is going to end up being. Oh, well.
It's really horrifying.
I know, it's just horrifying. Watch where you plant your house, okay? Watch what you're doing. Exercise due diligence.
Yeah, all sorts of things. Don't live downside of the stream. When it floods, it goes in your basement.
Right. And it reminds me of the first time I bought a house. It was in Madison, Wisconsin, and I remember proudly, showing it to our dad. When he came in, I said, "Dad, check this out." And he walked right by me. I don't think he walked right by me. Straight down into the basement. And I'm running after him saying, "Dad, don't you want to look at that?" He said, "I'm looking at what's important." Yeah, so I, who hadn't looked at the furnace, I, who hadn't looked at any of the stuff down there and to see if the house was, whatever. But often the stuff you're supposed to bother with is not interesting. You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah.
And you have to know to do it.
Right.
I think people are probably smarter about it these days because there's all these television shows about it. But, yeah, there's a lot to look at, and it ain't the glamorous part.
No, never is.
I always laugh because around here where the wastewater is, we're on a stream system. It's very primitive. I mean, there's just gullies and streams that run all through this area.
Mm-hmm.
And it's part of what makes it so lush, and it's part of why we have so much wildlife. But it always amuses me when a house advertises how many sump pumps it has in its basement.
And you don't really want to have a house with sump pumps.
You don't want to live in a place where you need to have a sump pump.
I've never known what it's a sump pump.
A sump pump is what takes the water that's coming up through your drains in your basement and pumps it back outside so you don't flood.
Oh. And you only have to have one of those if you're living on, like, marshy...
You only have to have one of those if you're living next to something that's flooding.
Oh, okay. And so you don't think it's a good thing to advertise a house with 5,000 sump pumps?
It wouldn't be my first choice to go look.
Okay. Well, there. I've learned what a sump pump... It is S-U-M-P?
Yeah, S-U-M-P.
What do you think that means? Sump.
It's probably onomatopoeic.
No, I don't think. What does that mean? No. Anyway, we have a
maybe it's subterranean moisture problem solver.
Oh, come on. I appreciate the effort there, Suze, but I don't think so. So, you know what? I'm going to take a quick break here, and we're going to come back and talk about some heavier things. I'm sorry about that, but it definitely some news that we need to talk about. And some have to do with constitutional issues, so we'll be picking your lawyer's brain. Okay?
Oh, okay, I'll try and get it oiled up.
Okay, oil it up, because we'll be back in a minute.
More is on the way with Lynn Cullen Live.
BurgBargains.com is your best bet for great deals in the Burg. Log on today for exclusive bargains from your favorite local restaurants like Blue Line Grill, Dell's, Ibiza, and Verde. Plus discounts on tickets to Dan St. Germain at the Improv. BurgBargains.com, Pittsburgh's best bargains. BurgBargains.com.
While cutting molding with a 12-inch dual compound miter saw, while holding a newborn baby in your arms, when face-to-face with a congregation of alligators, with the ball in your hands and the entire freaking season on the line.
There are a million places you'd never consider texting, so why would you do it while driving? NASCAR driver Casey Kane here, asking you to please stop the text, and together we can stop the wrecks.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Get the message at stoptextstopwrecks.org.
You're listening to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Once again, here's Lynn Cullen.
Margaret writes that she would have thrown me in jail for contempt of court.
Come on, baby.
And we've got this on Girl Scouts. I know what you mean about the Girl Scout cookies. When I was a kid, 30-some years ago, we thought it was up to me to go door to door and through my efforts see what I could do. That was the whole idea. Kids were rewarded for various levels of selling, but then when my parents learned that other parents were taking the order forms to work and such, well, it just struck us as unfair because, yeah, the kids got awards.
Right.
As usual.
So
Don't
the
get me
parents are
started.
cheating.
Yeah. Struck us as unfair, and I think that started my fizzling out of my participation. We thought it was akin to cheating. We all hear of how competitive kids' sports have become, but it might just have started with those Girl Scout cookie sales. It's too bad. And you know what? You know why they don't go door to door now? Because, of course, they'll all be molested.
Oh, of course.
Absolutely.
Listen. You know, and so you can escort, you can walk with your kid. Lots of parents do that.
Exactly.
As a matter of fact, just about all parents do that. But around here, they still stand back, or if they come to my door, I don't talk to the parent. I talk to the kid.
No, it's all about the child. How are they supposed to learn anything?
And my favorite one was the guy the little kid that was selling, I think, gift wrap for his school, and he knocks on my door and I live at the end of a half-mile long street, and he comes up and he says, "Well," he says, "I've now been in every house on the street, and I am here to tell you that you have the nicest one."
Oh, what a little
8-year-old
operator!
Kid, and I laughed. I said, "Well, would you like to come in and have a tour?" And he said, "No, thank you, but would you like to see my gift wrap?" He was so cute. I bought, more gift wrap than I could
You
ever
still have this
use.
gift wrap, right? You still have this gift wrap.
Right.
Right. Well, he was a little operator. He was going to be...
terrific. Yes,
he told
I
that
gave
to
him an A.
everybody. Yeah. That was the same line he used all the way down the street and back up it.
It was so cute.
Oh, Susan, I know we have talked about the Missouri state legislature, which is apparently populated by horses' asses, right?
Yes.
That we have. I want to talk just a little bit about the state legislature here because there were two items in the paper today. And both headlines say it all, okay? First headline. State senators want to ban lawmakers taking cash. Yes. And, of course, you look at that and you think, wait a minute. You mean...
They have this?
You mean I could, next time I see my state rep, Dan Frankel, I bump into him on occasion. I can slip him a 20. What did I know?
Remember, that's what you were supposed to do to the Chicago cops. You were supposed to have a 20 attached to your driver's license when you handed in the driver's license.
What do you mean? No wonder. And given the fact that there's next to there in this state, there is no law that says it is illegal for a lawmaker, a state senator.
Back in the day, certain things simply didn't need to be said.
Well, and you almost have to wonder, well, how the hell? I mean,
wait a minute. I object. Cash has always been a time-honored way of doing business.
That's right. And so here's the thing, though. So many of our illustrious legislators are doing time or have just gotten out. One of the Ories got out recently, and some of the others are due to be released soon. But half of them end up in jail. How do you end up in jail when there aren't any laws against anything that they were? Apparently, there are a few laws, which...
You have to excel at your craft.
I guess. So here it is. It's Lloyd Smucker who's from Lancaster, announced plans for a bill to ban legislators from accepting cash gifts. Watch it not get out of committee.
Well, I probably won't, because that's what they're all going to say. What do you mean?
What do you mean? Okay, that's one of them. That was one.
I'm supposed to pay for lunch?
Oh, that brings us to the other one, Susan. Good for you to say that.
No such thing as a free. Go.
Okay, here's the next headline from today's Post-Gazette. Bill requires receipts for lawmaker expenses.
Good idea.
So in other words, wait a minute.
They haven't been?
Never. And you know what? They get a daily, when they're in Harrisburg, they get $1. They get $159 per diem for just anything. And they have never shown receipts for these meals that they put in for. And the reason is that it says right here, the fact of the matter is, you can't be in the state legislature here and pay for your own lunch. There's no way, because there's a lobbyist who's going to pick up that check. None of them pay for their lunches, and yet they've been collecting, what's $159 per diem times what? Let's have them in session, let's just say even 80 days a year. It'll be more than that. Let's say 100 days a year. So that they could be getting, oh my God, yes, $16,000 essentially.
Right.
A year. And this is on top of their base salary, Susan. You want to take a stab at what their base salary is?
Are these full-time or part-time?
Oh, supposedly full-time.
Oh, well, then it has to be I can't even
Okay,
say.
$84,000.
How much?
Caller, come on in. $84,000 is what they're paid. That's their base.
People should be scrambling for those jobs.
You betcha. That's their base, and then you put $16,000 per diem on top. They're now up to $100,000, and we're not even getting started because we give them cars, we give them gas, we give them all this other stuff. Caller, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right.
Clarence, Canonsburg.
Clarence.
Yeah, what was the state legislator's name from Lancaster?
From Lancaster, that would be Senator... Oh, no, that's not the one. Wait. Okay. Senator Smucker.
No,
Yeah.
he's only passing this bill.
Smucker family?
What?
He only wants this bill passed because with a name like Smucker, you have to be good.
Yeah, but listen to the name. I didn't give the other name. Yeah, but listen to the co-sponsor.
I'm laughing, Clarence.
All right, fine.
I hear you.
But here's the name of the other co-sponsor of the bill.
Okay.
Senator Leach.
Smucker Leach. How good is that? I should have waited to make another joke. It took me a minute to
figure out the Smucker one.
Up,
Yeah. Do you believe? Yeah, Smucker and Leach, and they're out in front here trying to make sure that it will be in the future illegal to hand your legislator a few $100,000.
What are these people trying to do to Pennsylvania? Everybody knows we have dirty politicians.
Why am I laughing?
I got nothing else.
All right, well, that's fine. Okay, well, that's fine.
Smucker joke out.
All right, the Smucker joke, and we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Toodaloo. So yeah.
Well, you can't not discuss the fact that the Florida legislature is about to pass a law that makes it illegal to look into the facts surrounding stand your ground arrests. Withhold from public view.
Excuse me? What?
Yeah.
Well, wait.
what they're trying to do, because some newspaper did a expose on how, it was simply not enforced the same way across racial and other socioeconomic lines.
Ah, yeah. Oh, there's a shocker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so now they're making it illegal to look into those facts.
Yeah. Oh, and Ed just sent me a picture, and he said of the slide, and he said, from what he understands, the houses that were destroyed were mostly not on the hill.
They were underneath it.
They were located across the river from where the slide occurred. They were on relatively flat ground. Yeah. Jeez. And I think somebody has has emailed me about sump pumps. That would be Ray. A sump is a pit to collect water. A sump pump is a submersible pump designed to empty the sump. Did we get that?
Got it.
Okay, the sump is a pit that collects the water. The pump, a sump pump goes in the sump and empties it.
Where?
All right, that's a follow-up question there from Jess. She wants to know that when the sump pump empties the sump, where does it pump the stuff that was in the sump?
Back into the overflowing creek.
Which then it will come right back.
Well, it just keeps going until the creek recedes, which happens pretty quickly, actually.
Okay. I'll tell you. You learn stuff on this show. You learn stuff.
Well, you learn stuff when you live in different parts of the country.
Jesus Christ. Okay. And Susan, following up sort of on what you said, how the stand your ground stuff, and how, it turns out that depends on who you are, where you live, the kind of, justice you might get in this country, or how laws are interpreted, right? Is that sort of what you were getting at?
Well, this is one instance of that again. Yes.
Okay. Well, here's another that is unfolding before our eyes here in Pittsburgh, and this is I don't know, you've probably over the years heard me talk about this because it's been years now. Has to be about 5 years ago, doesn't it, that Jordan Miles got jumped by those cops. Susan, this was a kid, high school kid. He went to the creative, the high school for the creative and performing arts. He played the viola. He lived in the one of the poorest neighborhoods in town and one of the most crime-ridden neighborhoods in town. He was black. He is black, as a matter of fact. And he was one night walking from his mom's house around 11 p.m. to his nearby grandmother's house where he slept. He always slept at his grandmother's house. And his grandmother called his mother when he didn't show up like he usually does and said, where's Jordan? And she said, well, he isn't there? Because he left he left 20 minutes ago. Well, here's what happened to Jordan on his way to his grandmother's house. 3 men jumped out of a car, screamed at him, give me the drugs, give me the gun, give me the... and jumped him. And no, he saw him coming and he ran. They ran after him, they wrestle him to the ground, they kick him in the head a few times, they kick him around, they handcuff him, they this and that, they're police.
I'm ready to throw up.
All right. He ends up in jail. A picture of him the day after.
Unrecognizable and swollen, I'm sure.
Beyond belief. Doesn't even look like a human being. His mother did not recognize him. There was no gun. He was going to bed at his grandmother's house. The cops charged him with a gazillion things. I don't know what. He gets thrown in the jail.
I'm sure resisting arrest.
Oh, sure. For starters, right? Right. And anyway,
running from a lawful order to stop,
everything that he was charged with was thrown out.
Of course.
Almost immediately. And then things turned. And the cops were, of course, on trial. And in the criminal trial against the cops, which was last year or the year before, a jury couldn't come to they couldn't figure it out, and didn't know that in fact that was excessive force. Just couldn't figure it out. So anyway, we're now back in court. This is a civil.
Okay, I mean, really?
Yeah. This is a civil trial now, and the papers are full of, the kid has been on the stand for the last 2 days. And listen to this, Susan. This just blew my mind. One of the cops' attorneys says to Jordan Miles, who's on the stand now. Oh, by the way, when he was assaulted, he had a lot of dreadlocks, just sort of stick,
Right.
And they had actually ripped them. There was one quadrant of his head where they had ripped his hair out. He had no hair at all. So now he has, very close cropped hair. And and one of the defense attorneys said, "Are you planning to grow your dreadlocks back?" And Jordan said, "Yeah, I probably will." And so the attorney said, "So is that because then you're just putting on a show for the jury? You don't want the jury to see the real Jordan Miles, do you?"
What does his hairstyle have to do with it?
Do you effing believe it? That is what the cop's attorney said to this kid. "Oh, so I understand you look like a regular person here, but you're growing those dreadlocks back, aren't you? And you don't want the jury to..."
It's a standard trial technique, but it's in this case, it's
So
appalling.
what it's saying is, yes, it is. Of course, he doesn't have dreadlocks. Exactly because of this cop and the assumption that if you present yourself with dreadlocks, you look like a scary person to the all-white jury who is hearing the civil case. The racism is obvious.
right.
And Tony Norman, our columnist writing in the paper today, said this: "All things being equal, black people in Pittsburgh will continue to run away from white cops under similar circumstances, whether they're guilty or not.
Crazy not to.
Because chances are, right, that you're about to be severely beaten. And the odds there are still very high." And then Tony points out one other thing. Of these three cops, Susan, one of them he has left the Pittsburgh police and he's gone off to the fancier suburban police force where it's all white folks, suburbanites. And Tony suggests this: "I bet Officer Ewing, who now works in McCandless, would never dream of doing on those suburban streets what he did in Pittsburgh." In other words, if he sees a kid walking at 11 o'clock at night, he's not going to beat him almost to death. Right?
I would say that's. I point taken. But if you don't think that this is precisely where driving or walking or just being while black is not an offense, you're nuts.
Exactly, you're nuts.
So if he would behave most likely exactly the same.
Right. No. I mean, the cop.
No, if he saw That young man
a black
walking in that
in
neighborhood
McCandless.
at the same time in his new place.
Oh, no.
He'd be doubly sure to do it.
Yeah, sure. If it was a black kid, you
know. That's right.
No. He might even be worse.
He's not,
Right, because he's totally out of place. But obviously...
sometimes African Americans live in wealthy places, too.
Well, I believe Trayvon Martin made the mistake of trying to walk home, too.
Well, and there are young men that live in my neighborhood that get in trouble. It's their home.
Sickening. It's just sickening. And this kid, Susan, who is college-bound, is off track. He hasn't been able to sort of get his act together since this whole thing happened. He keeps looking for justice, and he ain't getting it. And if anything, they took this kid and they're making him into...
He was on the right track and sent him on the wrong one.
Well, possibly, yes. He certainly is getting extremely close-up view of the problems of being black in America and in America's justice system. Sickening.
Quote, post-racial society.
Unbelievable. Okay, Ray is responding to your question, Jess, of where does the water go once the pump has sucked the sump? Mm-hmm. Okay? Ray says, I will omit industrial uses that I am most familiar with. Residential uses around here are typically designed to remove groundwater that is infiltrating basements. A drain is cut around a house, inside or out. This drain is below the sewer or street level. The drain feeds into a sump or barrel underneath. In order to get this water up far enough to go down the drain, all right, hopefully rainwater drain, not sewer drain. It needs to be pumped. It is like a bilge pump that takes seawater out of a boat and pumps it back where it came from. Bilge pump, sump pump, it's all the same thing. You ever heard of a bilge pump?
Yes.
Yeah, I have too. That's in a boat.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's when you see boats going down the
river, and there's water coming.
Where water's coming out.
Yeah, there's got water coming out of them because right. Well, thank you, Ray, for your efforts there.
Isn't it nice, practical knowledge?
Yes. I have to admit I'm relatively disinterested, however, in sump pumps. It doesn't float my boat.
That's the whole point.
That's right. And my boat do have bilge pumps. Okay, we got to take another break. And then when we come back, we got to talk about what the Supreme Court's up to today because it is scary. Corporations, as we now know, are people. They're soon to be very special people if the Roberts Court does the wrong thing here. And I'm scared to death that they are going to. Okay, we'll be back.
Stick around for more with Lynn Cullen Live after this.
Packers.
Vikings.
We come from different places.
Uptown.
Downtown.
We come to different conclusions.
Half empty.
Half full.
But when we live united, we make a real difference in the building blocks of life. Children succeed in school, families gain financial stability, the health of our neighbors improves, and suddenly so do our communities. Real change won't happen without you.
Live united.
So give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Sign up today at liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Pittsburgh City Paper's annual music guide is available now. Pick up one today for a look at music education in city schools. Gary Newman, Ted Pappas, and Hart. Plus, don't miss your chance to win cash in our bracket contest. Pittsburgh City Paper available at over 1,700 locations throughout Western Pennsylvania and on the web at pghcitypaper.com, your smartphone at citypapermobile.com, and at the iPhone App Store and Google Play.
Have a question or an opinion? Call Lynn Cullen at 412-316-3381 or email lynn at pghcitypaper.com. Now, more with Lynn Cullen Live.
All righty, so today the Supreme Court is going to be hearing arguments brought by this craft store chain Hobby Lobby. And and the case is about Hobby Lobby saying that the Affordable Care Act prevents them from their constitutional right to practice their religion.
Right. Well, the mandate, specifically the mandate that they provide contraception to their employees.
Right. They have some 14,000 employees. Now,
I mean, it's probably surprising to a lot of people that with this mandate that insurance policies cover birth control, this is the first time that women's birth control has been covered on a widespread basis ever.
I know.
It's always been out of pocket to women.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
It's amazing to me.
I know. And stop and think. But Viagra, they'll cover.
Well, you're going to get a call right now or an email from the person that likes to remind us that there are other uses besides recreational for the drug, and yes, there are. But there was never a question that it wasn't covered for any reason.
Right. So, if this case goes the wrong way, the only way it's going to go that way is by giving Hobby Lobby, right? Making it so much of a person that it actually has religion now. No?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this idea that corporations are people, which obviously these conservatives on the court they can't give corporations enough person.
I want them to have the right to marry, and until they do.
Right. I think they should marry.
This merger stuff is unfair.
Right. Why can't they have a full-fledged marriage? And on top of that, why can't they vote? Oh, they do. I forgot. Well, they don't vote. They vote with their money, so they can have incredible influence on our politics. Although they don't let them vote. But this idea that corporations are people, which to me is the most ludicrous. I don't care how the tortured legal minds came up with this. The reality is until the mid-20th century, that was not the case. A corporation...
It became the case as a way to protect people's rights.
Okay.
And it has been so improperly interpreted given its start.
So that is correct. So initially, the whole idea of the corporation as a person was to protect not the corporation, right, but
the consumer.
The consumer. That was and it's been turned on its head ever since. But I'm looking.
It turned on its head so much that the very thought of protecting the consumer is the bane, of all existence. It's what causes, all of these terrible insurance-related costs like malpractice and everything else, because the terrible tort lawyers who are just running around looking for cases it's not about the poor guy who got operated on the wrong leg,
Right.
It's not about...
No, absolutely not. We got a call. Hello, caller.
Good morning. It's Dave from Washington.
Hi, Dave.
You're talking about Hobby Lobby, one of my favorite topics.
Okay.
First off, your telephone is cutting in and out. I think it's so fascinating that, their Christian principles guide their business practices, and yet how much of the stuff that they buy comes from China with their one-child policy, in every family, forced abortions. I guess they don't care about that so long as they can make money off of it.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I decide what I'm going to do, and this is kind of gross, but I think maybe I'll do it anyways. It's a little entrepreneurial spirit on my behalf. I'm going to go to Hobby Lobby because they're going to open one down here in Washington, and I'm going to get whatever it is I'm going to need because I don't know how to make them. But I'm going to design, produce, and market a line of dildos and butt plugs and sell them specifically to the gay and lesbian market. I don't know if the gay and lesbian market's really that sort of thing, but I kind of hope they are, and that they buy a lot of them.
Okay.
And I'm going to make sure that every single one of them has the words Hobby Lobby attached to them, so they know. I'm going to put on every little one. Thank you, Hobby Lobby, for giving me the means to produce this wonderful product and sell it to the world and make a lot of money.
I like the idea. Are you gonna? You got to let them know you're doing that.
Oh yeah. I'm going to send a bunch to headquarters and say thank you so much. You guys are just wonderful here. Here's a couple free samples. Anyways, I don't know anything about marketing or anything like that, so it's going to be.
Okay, well, we wish you luck in this endeavor. Truly.
Yeah, take it to Shark Tank. I was
just going to take off and make me a lot of money.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Good luck. There's a piece in USA Today by the Episcopal Bishop Gene Robinson about this, and he's just he says this is using what Hobby Lobby doesn't. He said it's Christians like this that just make him cringe. He said, Christ sought to protect and comfort the weak, not control them, control their behaviors. Christians, and he says, how come all these Christians who somehow can't tolerate the idea of allowing their employees to have a measure of what's the word? I mean, freedom regarding their own health care. He said, how come these same Christians are not refusing to cater weddings of adulterers? Or nor are they claiming that their religious beliefs are offended by photographing the wedding of someone who is, greedy. Because actually the Bible talks much more about the greedy, about gossips, than it does about homosexuality. Or just screwing around. That's what we're talking about now, right? It is beyond belief.
What if we aren't just talking about screwing around? What if we're talking about responsible family planning?
Exactly right. You're not supposed to.
What if we're talking about women's health care issues that are treated through the use of contraceptives,
right,
like excessive bleeding,
right,
and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm.
Same for just like Viagra has uses other than pleasure, so do contraceptives.
And if somehow Hobby Lobby prevails, and with this court it's possible, you will have businesses and corporations. There'll be a tsunami of cases in which they are denying service of some sort because of their religion, right? And how? It is just beyond me. It is beyond me. Here's what John Marshall, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, said about corporations. He had it right in 1819. I thought Scalia and these guys loved all the old, whatever they valued the history and the precedent of the court. Because here's one. John Marshall, a corporation is an artificial being, invisible, intangible, and existing only in contemplation of law. It possesses only those properties which the charter of its creation confers upon it. That sounds exactly right.
Right, but, and that is exactly right, except that I will guarantee you that things in corporate, when you make your corporate bylaws and you file them with your Secretary of State, one of the lines is guaranteed to say, and to engage in any and all activities lawful under the state. So all that means is that then these laws get passed that infer these incredible rights that they just gain, and those were given by the Supreme Court, as it turns out.
God. Oy.
So, the phrase, when Marshall wrote that, it was in a time before when that would have made sense. But any lawyer would always draft that in the corporate powers that they have the right to engage in any lawful activities.
Yeah. Oh, dear. I'm worried about this today. I really am.
Well, we'll just have to see. I have a very hard time defining this any way except extremely narrowly, which would mean to me that a convent wouldn't have to provide contraceptives to its religious, order. But anytime you employ anyone that is not in the exact service of the religious purpose, they should have all the rights due any employee.
Exactly. Caller, go ahead.
Hey, good morning, Lynn.
Hi.
And Sue.
Hi.
Good morning.
George from Moon.
Hi, George.
A couple comments on this, because this has got me thoroughly aggravated and upset. This is an issue that is, first of all, focused on women and their health.
And their sexuality.
And on equity.
Yeah.
Okay, in the workplace. But, and that's something that gets confused sometimes, that people are thinking, well, this is going to permit businesses to discriminate against people with different religious attitudes. This is about employees and the rights they have. And in particular, this is about female employees, that these corporations think that they have the right to interfere with your personal life because you're employed by them.
Right.
The thing that astonishes me is that if I were a woman, there should be gangs of women in front of these businesses throughout the country voicing their upset about this.
Mm-hmm.
Because, those corporations could argue, well, this is our belief, and therefore we don't want to provide this service under this health insurance plan, and you can go elsewhere. But the trouble is, that's the old separate but equal thing, which separate and equal is not equal, which means you're discriminating against a particular gender of employees. Right. So I'm surprised that women aren't really screaming louder and standing in front of Hobby Lobby in Conestoga to really get in their face about this, because this is unequal. It is a gender-specific thing. And what I think it does is it opens the gates for, if it's approved by the Supreme Court, to allow businesses then to interfere in the personal life of any employee then. And you would then get crazy things like whatever the business orientation of the owners would be, whether it would be Christian or Jewish or Islamic or whatever the religious, beliefs are, to interfere in the personal lives of the employees, which is astounding in this day and age. But I just wanted to get your take on, this is right now with this issue, this is women employees that are under direct attack.
Right. You're right. And right.
Am I hearing a resounding agreement or what?
Yes.
No, we're agreeing.
Here's the sad part. I agree with you, but in a time when women should be standing up together more than ever and saying everything that we have fought for is under attack, and why are we just sitting here and letting it happen except for a few, voices? And I'll tell you why. It's because young women, for some reason, eschew the word feminist.
Yes.
And I don't know what they think they are or why they think they are where they are. But I'm here to tell them it can all go away in an afternoon.
I was in a non-union shop, and the younger guys, they were presented with the fact of maybe choosing a union. And I talked to them, and I said, you got to think about this seriously, because if you think it's needed, then vote for it and pick the right one and everything. And the young guy said, they never did anything for my father and everything, and therefore I could do this on my own. And I thought, you are so stupid. You'll never
wrong.
do this on your own.
Right.
And I think the same thing is true with young women today, that they assume all these things
Well, they have to have them. Yeah.
We're always there, and they think they can do it on their own.
Fine. Well, they'll be taken away, and then they'll have to fight the fight all over again, apparently. That is just maddening. Maddening.
This is a serious women's issue right now.
I agree.
That would broaden into a worse employee issue with any religious-based corporation.
Well, let's... you think of these same people who are so into, probably side with Hobby Lobby are the same people who probably, favor these efforts by some legislatures to pass bills that make it illegal for Sharia law to be in any way incorporated. Because they're always making the assumption that we're talking about Christianity here, right?
Right. Well, and the same people that don't want you to have contraceptives are the same people that don't want you to have access to abortion.
That is correct.
And they are most often and most vocally men that seem to think that they have the express right to exercise complete dominion and control over my body.
Yes, they truly do.
To them I say absolutely not. No.
No. Okay. Hey, George, thanks.
Yeah, I'm predicting a negative on this. The Supreme Court is going to go for it.
They're going to what?
They're going to support Hobby Lobby.
I'm afraid they are too.
My only hope is that it's going to be a narrower opinion than that. But I think, and it just might.
Unbelievable. All right. Goodbye. Jesus. Oh, man.
No, it really gets me upset that, people think it's so much better for women in the workplace these days. It's just nonsense. It might be in a few places, but it's not in most places.
This is important, and you do wonder why the women are not protesting this more. God, what's with them? I did my protesting. I can't do it. The young ones have to step up. All right.
I keep saying to her, I have this conversation with young women a lot, and I say, my grandmother, when she was born, she didn't have the right to vote.
Yeah.
And all of these changes have been hard won and hard fought over the last 100 years.
Yep.
And that's fast, and they can go away as fast.
And there's clearly a lot of energy that is attempting to roll a lot of this progress back.
Yeah, the American burqa. Here we are.
Here we are. Sons of bees. Okay. Well, I believe that's it. Suze?
Yeah, I got to go to the gym and get zen again. Okay.
All right. Good luck.
Thank you.
You work hard. No pain, no gain.
That's it.
Yeah, blah. Okay.
Bye.
Love you. Bye. As for you guys...
Jared tomorrow.
Jared Day, Daily News Nuggets, coming. He's not going to be in tomorrow. He's stuck. His mom. And he will be on the phone though. Okay, so more space for me. I don't have to be crowded out. So Jared Day tomorrow, and Sokolowski on Thursday, and Potter on Friday. Okay? Bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.